Welcome to 10-Minute Tuesdays, a weekly conversation with experts in education. My name is Claire Coop-Scott, and I am with the content team at EduPlanet 21. We're excited to be speaking with teachers from Hampton Township School District in Pittsburgh about their move to and use of the Understanding by Design framework for their curriculum. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Andrew, Courtney, and Shauna from Hampton Township. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start out. If each of you could share with us a little bit about yourself, as well as your involvement with curriculum design at Hampton Township, that would be great.
My name is Courtney Garrett. I teach first grade in Hampton, and I have been involved for about 2 years. I've been the curriculum leader in first grade, so I kind of jumped in 2 years ago.
And I'm Shauna Struble. I teach second grade at Hampton, and like Courtney, kind of been the curriculum leader and I guess, meeting with other teammates and trying to design units, using the UPD.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Halter. I'm an English teacher at the high school and an instructional coach. So I've been involved in designing the English curriculum, but also in supporting other teachers as they utilize UBD and develop their, especially in stage 3.
Great. So when you first heard that your district was going to be moving to UBD, what was your reaction, and maybe how has your feelings about it changed since then?
I think, especially for the teachers in my grade level, I think it was overwhelming at first when you hear we're starting something new, and it's such a big thing, thing to look at. But once we started digging in and creating the units, the excitement started evolving, and knowing what we were providing for the students and the engagement that it led to, I think it just kind of gave us that energy that we needed.
I think when we first heard about it, a lot of us that have been teaching for a long time thought, oh, here's a new fad. It's going to be one of these things that they're bringing in, and we're going to have to jump on that bandwagon. But once you get into a deeper understanding of it, you realize the importance of it and the use of it.
Yeah, I think at the high school, for years, our curriculum had been like a 3-strand curriculum with the strand, the performance indicator, and then assessment choices. So it was sort of comprehensive, but not very specific. And I think this did intimidate a lot of people because it really made us look at it with a microscope, sort of, and really start to plan and make sure that the curriculum is very much articulated.
So what have you seen in terms of the impact in your classroom and students with the shift to UBD?
I think looking at, obviously looking at the end in mind and looking where they need to go, it allowed us to really, I guess, find some meaningful and relatable concepts for them. So we're able to still do a lot of what we did, but also bring in some things that they were able to connect to. And so I think that end result, a performance task that really showed everything that they've been learning was so meaningful to them. And I saw the engagement level just soar. And really everything that we were doing, it was just, I think we were able to more like thematic base in our units, that it made it, I think, all kind of cohesive and able to integrate all these different, subject areas and stuff. And I think for them, it just really made it a smooth transition from unit to unit. So I thought the engagement level really, really shot up.
And to piggyback on that, on the idea of being intentional, I think that's the biggest shift at the high school is that the why has become a lot more clear for both teachers and students. I know because a lot of our stage 1s are very similar for depending on for unit to unit across curriculum, it kind of has given us that firm standing and consistency, but also for students, like the essential questions and trying to put those into student-friendly language and having them posted in the room and to be able to refer to them as you go and to design your curriculum to support those essential questions. I hope that it's really increased our students' understanding of why do we learn this.
So as teachers, are there any best practices that you have learned over your last couple of years in working with UBD?
I feel like just I think being reminded that students learn best when they're actually doing and not the teacher doing for this. So I think the UBD has really allowed for that a lot more performance task and more of them showing what they learn and how they learn. And I think our district has gone to the one-to-one technology, so that is a whole other element that's lent itself really well to that. I feel like that engagement piece and just open so many more doors for them as well.
I would agree also with that. I think that, again, I'm using the word intentional. I feel like I am more intentional. I love what Andrew said about the why. I think just knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing every day, and it's really carrying over to my 6 and 7-year-old students. I think they understand now why.
Again, with the purposefulness of knowing what you're going to do and why you're going to do it, I think it's really helped us to look at standards specifically, like being an ELA teacher too. You know, we have a tendency to dump all of those standards and say, oh, well, we're covering that, we're covering all of that. We do that, but to really think, okay, in this unit, I'm going to stick to, you know, these 4 standards and make sure that I hit them. And then, you know, and that's one of the benefits of the EduPlanet is it has helped us to kind of code where our stage 3 activities are hitting those standards. So, I think for teachers that are just adopting this, that's down the line, but it's something that we're really starting to do is to look at that, okay, in stage 3, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. How is that supporting what I said my content standards and skills were in stage 1? And the EduPlanet ability to code those has really helped a lot, and but it's down the line for us. That has helped.
I think just the accessibility too with the EduPlanet, like knowing that we can all look, even we can look up and down. I can look at 1st grade or I can look at 3rd grade if I need to, but 2nd grade, and knowing that all the 2nd grade teachers have that same access and are able to be doing the exact same thing and seeing the relationship between the standards and the essential questions, and then just the learning plan. I think it's really valuable as well, just for the teaching and planning aspect part of it.
So when you're mentoring a new teacher at Hampton, or if a teacher who is listening to this interview is thinking or knowing their district is going to move to UBD, what words of wisdom would you have for them?
I think for a new teacher, I think it's important for them to understand that it's a curriculum map, that this is something that they can use throughout the unit, throughout their planning process. I think they need to understand that the standards are the number one thing they need to look at, and then to really dig in to understand those standards. I think that's where I needed to start, because that was all new for me. And now that I understand those standards and I know what's expected of me, it makes our job so much easier.
Yeah, I think that it really is a blueprint for good teaching. It's nothing new. It's just everybody's kind of had their own way of doing this and creating this pathway, and now we're expected to do it in a very consistent format. And once you start to do it, you realize that it really is. I mean, it is a map good teaching, and it makes a lot of sense. And it does make it a lot more transparent. So when you're working across departments or across grade levels, there's a much more clear understanding of, okay, this is what's going on in the classroom. This is what matters. This is why you're doing what you're doing. And I think good teachers do that, but they do it their own way. And this is sort of making them do it, okay, you're going to do it this way. And that's a big shift for teachers. The other thing is, I think that if you look at stage 3 is really the fluid part of the curriculum. Once you get stage 1 in place, stage 2 may look a little bit different, performance tasks from teacher to teacher, but stage 3 is really, that's the art of teaching. And that I hope doesn't ever become something that was very, enforced and kind of dry and rigid, because that is what I see as teachers on an individual level. This is my art of teaching. This is how I'm going to get to that stage 1. And, we did stage 3 last, but I wish we would have looked at it a little bit more along the way as a way to plan for instruction in the classroom, because a lot of teachers, I think, don't really use it as their lesson planning. They kind of go through the motions and put their stage 3 in, but once you get to the point where you use stage 3 as a lesson planning tool, it really does make a lot of sense, because it is laying out it's good teaching, like I said. It's nothing new.
That's great. So you've also given in that answer some nuggets for administrators, but are there any other supports they put in place that helped you to be successful?
I think they broke it down really well. I think Jackie has done a fantastic job of breaking it down piece by piece. helping us to understand the why. I mean, we're talking about why we're doing what we're doing in the classroom, but she's done a great job of helping us, because I think at the beginning, I know for myself, I didn't know why we were doing this. We already had what we were doing. Why change it? So I think helping teachers understand the why is important. And I think time is a huge thing as well, and really helping teachers understand. I think the number one thing for me is understanding that this is not something we're going to do in a year or even 2 years, but this is going to be a long process.
The more models to be able to show, the better. I think we got it at a time when there weren't a whole lot of real solid models, but now that we do have models, I think that's something the teachers want. They want to know, what does this look like? What do you expect? And again, we referenced earlier about how it was nice that we didn't have a clear, firm, this is what it's going to look like. But I still think teachers need to see, where am I going with this? What does it look like? And I think from the beginning, I wish we would have had a little bit more of those. But now I think we do. I think we have some stellar models.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I appreciate all of your insight, and I know the folks who are watching and listening are going to learn a lot from you. So thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.